Hey, I'm Brennan with RevZilla, and today on Ride Tested, we are checking out the Shark Spartan GT helmet. I've got the carbon version here, so without further ado, let's hop on the Triumph and take a closer look. So normally when I do these ride tested videos, I'm testing gear that I really like, that I'm excited to share with other people, that I'd recommend to my buddies. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not the biggest fan of this particular helmet. I don't love it. At this price point, I was just expecting a bit more out of Shark. I have my nitpicks, I have my things that I don't like. Let's start with the positive things first before I get all negative on you. It's relatively lightweight. I think it feels well balanced. However, I do have the carbon version, and it is really no lighter than the non-carbon version, but this one cost you about 60, 70 bucks more, if I'm not mistaken, just to have the carbon, and it's not shedding a lot of weight. And I think that is a common misconception within the industry, that just because there's a carbon version means it's always going to be lighter. It actually isn't always the case, so make sure you're checking the weights on that, just something to be cognizant of. But it does feel relatively lightweight. I do love the internal sun visor. I think that is always a nice benefit, right? Comes down nice and low, really great coverage. It's very smooth. It's right at the top of the helmet. It's very easy to find, very easy to manipulate and utilize. I like that it's on top of the helmet versus the side. I feel like the side's a little bit easier to grab, but as you can see here, I've got a comm system on. That's what I'm utilizing to chat with you guys. But if you have the internal sun visor mechanism right here on the left, well, it could cause a problem with me mounting a Bluetooth communication system, and that's something I don't really love. This is designed to incorporate the Shark system if you want to do that, but personally I'm a big fan of Cardo if you want to add that communication system. The other thing I do like the overall style, the aesthetic of this helmet, the shell design. It's got that aggressive kind of sporty look to it. And I like that they gave you the pin lock insert. That's included in the box. I mean, that's always great. We've got this nice breath guard. However, I will say, when you have this down, when you have the internal sun visor down, if you're at city speed, let's say 35 miles an hour, that thing fogs like crazy. I mean, it really does. I know that's going to be an issue for most helmets on the market with the fogging of the internal sun visor because, you know, there's no pin lock associated with that. But I would get some anti-fog coating or anything like that because it fogs really quick and it makes everything look a bit distorted. So I didn't really love that. Now let's get into some of the negatives. Some of the things I don't absolutely love about this particular helmet. And first and foremost is the shield. So it's got that sporty stance to it. I'm on my Thruxton, which is a little bit more aggressive, but I do have tracker bar, so I'm a little bit more upright than your traditional Triumph Thruxton is going to be. Just make it a little bit more comfortable for my commutes in and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like it's a little bit lower than it should, and I've push the helmet up about as far as it can go, and when I'm straight, it's not really a big deal, but as soon as I am kind of in that aggressive positioning, I mean, I've just got that bar right there. So I wish I had a little bit more coverage right here at the top. The bottom doesn't seem like it's missing anything, or, you know, I have adequate line of sight down below. But yeah, this is just a little bit off for me, a little bit of a miss in my personal opinion. I think that should be up a little bit more, give me a little bit more line of sight. That's definitely going to be one of those nitpicks. The other thing, and probably the biggest thing, is going to be the airflow. The airflow on this helmet is basically non-existent. It works, it's there, but I was doing 80 miles an hour on the highway, and I was like, all right, let me open these things and close them so I can feel the difference in the airflow. And I was at 80 miles an hour, and I couldn't tell anything, you know? I will say that's, for me personally, I feel like that's kind of common with a lot of lids. I'm like, well, I can barely feel the air coming through. It's dramatically going to change depending on your riding position, your rate of speed, blah, blah, blah. Do you have a windscreen? All that stuff. Same kind of deal with the noise, you know, it's in the similar vein there. But yeah, I was expecting a lot more airflow out of this lid, and it really wasn't supplying much. I mean, the airflow is at the top right here, right? So unless I'm just really super aggressive with it, you know, the airflow is not really coming through that much. And if I'm super aggressive, well dang, now I'm like looking right out the top of the face shield here in that aggressive riding position. So that doesn't really help either. The internal speakers don't fit perfectly in the speaker pockets. That's pretty common. Not really a deal breaker there, but just something worth noting. The Cena 20S I've got in there right now. Uh-oh. Getting into a little traffic here. So I'll just take this moment. But yeah, so I can fit the speakers in, but they don't fit in that recessed area perfectly. Again, not a big deal. I don't feel them really pressing against my ears. The fit itself, very snug, but good. I like the fit, the internal shape, everything like that. It's all good. It's tough getting in the helmet. You really got to wrestle this bad boy onto your head. But once it's there, once you shift it around a little bit, you know, it does feel nice and comfortable and settled in. Obviously, that stuff breaks in pretty well over time, but I don't know. For $570 for the carbon version, I mean, I was just expecting a bit more, especially when you think about something like the Shoei RF 1400, the AGV K6. I mean, those are such excellent helmets, and they're less costly. Now, you can get the non-carbon version for right at $500, but then you're directly competing with the RF 1400 and AGV K6. Granted, those two helmets do not have an internal sun visor, but I think they're a great comparison. There's other helmets on the market, plenty, that do, have that internal sun visor, and they're priced far less than this thing. I don't know. I didn't even talk about the shield. The shield mechanism to change it over there on the side of the shield, they're really finicky. And to me, that's super annoying. I don't want to be messing around with that stuff while I'm trying to change a shield. I want it to pop in and out as I need it to do so and stay secure as it should. So, again, it's not my favorite design, Shark. Let's get into some of the questions. One was with the internal sun visor, is it noisy, is it rattly? I can assure you it is not. They did a great job with that. It slides very smoothly, retracts all the way. I put it up there. I was doing 80 miles an hour for about 45 minutes to get out to the roads out here. It didn't rattle, it didn't fall down. I've had some kind of slip out of place over time. This feels very secure. It does fog quite a bit, so just keep that in mind. Put a little anti-fog spray or coating or something like that, which you'll have to reapply over time, but I think it'll help. Now, the next question was pertaining to the overall fit. I touched on it just a moment ago. Intermediate oval internal, and I'd say it leans a little bit more on the long oval side. If you have a round head shape, this is not the helmet for you. I don't think it's going to be a good option. So I'd say long oval to intermediate oval, you should be good to go with this. And again, that entry is very much on the narrow side of the spectrum. Definitely got to wrestle it on. The interior is very comfortable. I was a little concerned because it's a bit on the thinner side of the spectrum from what I've seen with other manufacturers, but it does feel very nice, very secure, very comfortable. How long that's going to hold up over time, over years of use, I can't say at this very moment because it is a little bit thinner than some of the other brands I've been using. So just something to keep in mind with that too. And then the last question was pertaining to noise. I mentioned quiet. It is very quiet. Obviously, noise is subjective. I've said it 100 times. It's going to change from one rider to the next. Rate of speed, windscreen, the materials you're using. But I will say the Shark, I'll tip my hat to him on that one. It doesn't seem very loud. I was using earplugs, which helps make any loud helmet quiet. So if you're not wearing earplugs, you absolutely should if you're riding on the highway for any prolonged amount of time. But relatively speaking, being able to compare it to other lids, certainly I would consider it a quiet helmet. But guys, that is all I've got for you today. I'm getting a little bit hungry, so I think I'm gonna go grab a burger and a milkshake. I will see you next time. And I think the next video, I might be doing this fancy jacket I've got here I just picked up recently, which is the Roland Sands Clash, but you'll have to keep an eye out for that video. That one's coming out soon. So if you got any questions, hit me up. Don't forget about the product detail breakdown if you're looking for some little bit more of the nitty gritty. I just like talking to you about this stuff as I'm using it, what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing in the moment. So it's a lot of fun for me. But yeah, stay safe, get out there and ride. As always, keep it pinned. See you guys.